Welcome back, everybody. It is April 1st, and it's that time again. Let's talk about what's coming out in Star Wars this month and why you should be excited about which things. First and foremost, on April 5th, I feel like we've been waiting our whole lives for this. They've been pushed back for years, but Lego Star Wars is dropping. I've never played a Lego game in my entire life. This is going to be the first one, and I'm excited. Have you guys seen the list of playable characters? Like, it is wild. Rothgar Dang is a playable character. Wilbur Hood, like... at this point, they just need to have a Glubshido as a character that you could play as, because it's wild. I'm super excited, so I will be streaming this game. I need to get my whole streaming setup, back up and running. But yeah, that's the first thing that I need to mention is popping up this Tuesday. Now, as you guys probably already know, book releases drop on Tuesdays, and this upcoming Tuesday, April 5th, is going to be a doozy. The first thing that's coming out is the Star Wars Clone Wars official collector's magazine. Basically, this is like all the articles and information about the Clone Wars from all the like Star Wars insiders and things like that. Collated into one big book. Now, this book says that it's going to have stuff for every single episode of the Clone Wars, which means that's going to be a big book. I'm probably going to pick that one up myself because, damn, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of awesome content that's going to come out of it as well. Also, Queen's Hope, the third installment of the Padme books by E.K. Johnston. Brilliant book. I'm still partially through it, but I've been enjoying it. And yeah, if you enjoyed any of the other ones, I would highly encourage you to pick this up, because this just continues telling these incredibly deep stories about Padme. If you're an Anakin fan, this whole thing starts on the day of their wedding and some shenanigans that they're going to be getting into, and just more depth on their relationship. Definitely recommend picking it up. And if you want to get the audio version, now I probably should make sure the audio version drops the same day, but typically it does. And Catherine Tabor is the voice of Padme from the Clone Wars, has been reading these audiobooks. So if you want it read in Padme's voice, you can definitely go that route as well. Now, we also have a bunch of awesome releases coming from Star Wars Legends, a lot of my personal favorite books. So we have Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. If you want more Sith stuff, if you love the Old Republic, you absolutely must read the Darth Bane trilogy that's been re-released. Dynasty of Evil is the final book, so all three of them will be out in a brand new format that you could easily pick up if you hadn't read it before. Now, in my opinion, this is probably the weakest of the books, but don't let that fool you. It's still an excellent read, and it ties together everything very nicely. So you'll be seeing some characters from the first book pop up in the second book, and yeah, it's going to tie things together in a really nice bow. Speaking of the Sith, re-release of Darth Plagueis is coming out as well. Amazing book, one of my favorites. James Luceno put his foot in it. Oh man. Now, I always warn people, James Luceno books, the first half of the book is like a textbook. There's a lot of information. He goes into way more detail than you think is necessary, but you know what? It is necessary. All of those details pay off further down the line. So I'm a huge fan. And by the way, Darth Plagueis, the book, is the Legends like Palpatine origin story. So don't be fooled because it's called Plagueis, and obviously he's, a huge player in it. But most of the book is a Palpatine origin story. Highly recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. And then on top of that, the cherry on the top, because we are in Obi-Wan season, is Kenobi, John Jackson Miller's Kenobi. He's on Tatooine. Now, I was kind of afraid that they were going to do this with the Obi-Wan show, just make him stay on Tatooine and have some adventures there, which I didn't need to see. Why? Because I already had this book. This book is the first place I can recall that truly humanized the Tuskens and really displayed their culture and how difficult it had to have been for Obi-Wan to not be able to act as a Jedi, not be able to act as a protector, to stand on the sidelines as bad things would happen to people that he knows he can stop. but he can't step in and do anything because he knows he'd be putting Luke in danger if he does. If he does anything out of the ordinary, he's going to be putting a target on his back. And how do you live like that, especially when you've been a protector your entire life? John Jackson Miller did a great job. A Yark, Plug Eye, amazing character. And even the villains in this book are lovable in their own way, because you can see who they are. You can see why they are the way they are. They're terrible, but it's great. And to round out the Legends books that are being re-released, we have Wedges Gamble. This is the second book in the X-Wing series, and I'm happy to get this one coming back. Growing up, I wasn't the biggest fan of like the more military-minded ship-based books, but man, lately, especially after Alphabet Squadron and going back into these books, they are excellent reads. This is one of the first things that started happening in the expanded universe, at least that started tying into a larger narrative. And so if you want to see how in the expanded universe the Rebels took back Coruscant, this is the book series that does that. And we also get introduced to one of the most interesting characters from the expanded universe, Corran Horn, in the first book of this, and the second one is going to continue that story. Now, there's quite a few books in this series, but it's worth checking out the first one. If you like the style, the second one's going to be right up your alley. And also, more love to Wedge. Unsung heroes, right? Rounding out the releases on April 5th, because we're still on April 5th. Rounding out the releases is the script reprint of Dr. Aphra. So if you didn't know, there was a Dr. Aphra audio drama that was released last year. It was an audio drama, just like it sounds, right? It has a full cast of people doing the voices, and it's interesting. Audio dramas are not my favorite thing. I prefer having a solid narrator, but the way that they did this with Dr. Aphra being her own narrator and is kind of recanting this story as a sometimes unreliable narrator was an interesting spin on it, and I did enjoy it. So if you don't like audio dramas and you'd rather read it, it is a script reprint, so it's gonna read like a play. But if you're a Dr. Aphra fan, then you can check that out. Now, books and novels come out on Tuesdays, comic books come out on Wednesdays. So the following day, April 6th, we're going to get Bounty Hunters issue number 22. Now, to be honest, I've fallen off of this series, so I can't fully tell you, without freeness of speech, I can't tell you fully what it's about. This series hasn't quite gripped me, but, if you're reading it, cool. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you're excited for issue number 22. I don't always shout out reference books here, but I got to in this case. On April 12th, we have the Star Wars The Tiny Book of Legendary Women. It just appreciates the amazing women in the galaxy far, far away. You can have a small little guide that just kind of goes through a lot of really interesting characters and gives you some background on them. It's a reference book, just like I said, and definitely I will be picking this one up for sure. We also have a High Republic release. Now, it's the trade paperback for Trail of Shadows. Trail of Shadows is awesome. It's a detective noir stories within Star Wars with one of my favorite new Jedi, Emmerich, and I really enjoy this, especially if you are reading the High Republic, and when you got into the creatures, the leveler, if that means anything to you, then you should be on this series. It was 4 issues and a great read. I'm happy we're now getting the trade paperback. I won't be picking this up because I have all the single issues, so I already have it, but trade paperback is being released. We have 2 comic books coming out. There is Star Wars issue 22. It's a Star Wars 2020 run, and man, so this run has been up and down, but if you are interested in more Poe Dameron related content, we're actually going to get a mission from his father, trying to bring back one of their own lost members. So that might be interesting to check out. But Darth Vader 22 is also dropping the same day, and oh boy, howdy! Like, the Vader comics have been epic this entire time. I'm super excited because this pits him directly against Crimson Dawn. We have, mild spoilers, but we got some Sabe action in the previous one, and we have to see where this goes. He knows that Crimson Dawn is out there and that they are fighting some sort of secret war against them, and he's hell-bent on taking them down. Is he going to be able to? I imagine so, because Crimson Dawn doesn't exist, in the sequel era, but I can't wait to find out how. Speaking of Crimson Dawn, Crimson Reign issue number 4 is dropping the following week on April 27th, and this has been my favorite thing coming out of Star Wars right now in the realm of comics, because this story has been so freaking good. Kira is back at it, and we need to figure out exactly what's going on. We know now that Crimson Dawn's true mission, the reason they've infiltrated all levels of government, all organizations, they are spread all across the galaxy, is because they have found a secret rising threat, the Sith. And I can't wait to see what happens when she runs back into Vader. I can't wait for this book. Can't wait. Also on the same day, we're gonna have Halcyon Legacy number 3. Now, I am behind. I started reading the first one and I didn't like it. This is the tie-in book for the hotel. It's not my speed, so it's a thing. But if you're interested in it and a story that takes place on that ship, the 3rd issue of that is coming out on April 27th as well. We also have Dr. Aphra, issue number 20, and Star Wars issue 23, and the Han Solo and Chewbacca issue number 2 are all dropping on that day on April 27th. Now, I would get more in depth, but since I haven't read Star Wars 22 because it's not out yet, can't really talk about that one. And I don't want to spoil the Han Solo and Chewbacca because it's a brand new run. The first one just dropped, and it's definitely enjoyable. I want you guys to discover it. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's a Han Solo and a Chewbacca story. Like, what more do you need? What more do you need? But anyways, that is what's coming out in the realms of books and comics in the month of April. If there's anything you guys are looking forward to, please let me know in the comments. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, followers, and all of my patrons. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, because it truly makes a difference and I appreciate it. Anyways, that's all for now. May the Force be with you always.